Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome to Art to Silkscreen tutorial video, step 1 of the process, degreasing your screen. It's really important that you do degrease your screen, and there are a number of reasons why you should do this. Firstly, you need to remove dust particles. Mesh tends to attract dust, especially in busy print rooms where there's lots of heat curing equipment. A lot of the fibres on the fabric can be in the air, and these tend to settle on the mesh. Secondly, you need to remove dirt residue that could be left even on brand new screens. Mesh tends to get handled, especially on the stretching part of the process and also the packaging part of the process. You need to make sure that there's no dirt or dust on your screen before you coat it with emulsion. And lastly, but most importantly, you'd want to remove any oils or grease residues that could be left on the screen from previous cleaning or reclaiming, such as stencil strips, screen washes, and also ghost removers. If you leave these on the mesh, there are a number of things that can actually cause you big problems later on. If you don't degrease the screen properly and you leave these things on the mesh, this is what can happen. You can end up with loads of pinholes. So when you come to clearing the stencil, you'll get loads of little tiny gaps in your emulsion, and these will allow the ink to pass through these areas where you don't want them to be. You could also end up in some patchy areas, so the stencil may break down in certain places on the mesh, and you don't want that happening either. And lastly, in some extreme cases, you may end up with complete stencil breakdown. These are the reasons why it's really important to degrease your screen before coating. So now I'm going to show you how to degrease your screen. It really is quick and easy to do. We're going to take our degreaser. It usually comes as a concentrated liquid. You can actually dilute this down to a ratio of 1 part degreaser to 10 parts water. Today we've already diluted this down, ready for use. We've also put a spray nozzle on the bottle as well. This is really handy because you can actually get a nice even mist of degreaser on your screen, and also it reduces wastage as well. If you don't have the spray nozzle when you're pouring it out, you can end up with a lot of wastage. So you need your degreaser, but firstly we're going to wet the screen both sides with water. Okay, after we've wet it both sides with water, we're going to spray the screen with our degreaser. You'll see it start to foam up straight away. Make sure you get into the corners of the screen. That's where a lot of the dust tends to sit. Okay. Then we'll take our cleaning brush. We're using a soft bristled cleaning brush so it doesn't damage the mesh. And then you just work it in. On both sides of the screen. Make sure you do get into those corners of the screen. Once you've worked the degreaser into a nice lather, you're ready to actually remove it with water. So we're going to put our spray on quite a fine spread of water. Starting from the top, you'll then work your way down the screen to remove all the residue. It's really important to also remove all the degreaser residue as well. If you also spray the screen in a downward motion, what you're doing is you're stopping any splashback or any of the residues coming back up onto the screen. Once the water has run clear, your screen is fully degreased. Just shake off any water residue. Now we've removed all of the degreaser from the screen and we've allowed the water residue to run clear, it's now ready to dry. So you could leave it to air dry. We recommend using a fan heater to actually force the water out of the screen, because if you do leave too much water residue on the screen, it can actually cause something that's known as water crystals in the mesh. This is just water residue that ends up drying up in the mesh and could potentially block out those areas where you want the ink to pass through. So now we're just going to dry the screen. So now your screen's dry, it's ready for coating. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.